Welcome to The Pass. I am Obi-Ron here in studio by myself today. Constance on his week of producing. But with me, as always, in Denver, Colorado, Turtle. How's it going, buddy?
Come on, let's not bullshit the listeners. We all know he's on another mancation with all of his special men friend.
You're right.
So, I mean, it's Monday. Obviously, we don't record over the weekends, but we have a lot of, obviously, we watch a lot of things over the weekend. And one thing that stuck out for me, and I know it stuck out for you, and even me, like me and my sister were talking about this, is throughout this podcast, and for the people who have been listening through all this journey, thank you, but you have heard us bring up time and time again the pussification of sports.
Yes. How
some sports are being so watered down, and they're making bullshit calls, and they're doing things to, in my opinion, ruin the game. It's not entertaining. I know that's under the guise of player safety, but after a while, something's got to give. And last night during football, there were 3 hits, one major one that we'll talk about in the Sunday night football game, which was the Chargers and Pats. It was the hit from Browner on Green.
Yeah.
Even my sister was like, "What the man? Like, what is this bullshit?" So, I mean, Ron, you obviously know what I'm talking about. So, what?
I'm with you, dude. Like, I like my sports. I like my sports because they're fun. It's a contest. You don't know who's going to win. You obviously got guys you can root for. You root for your team, whatever. But it's exciting. It's fun. It's exciting. Sometimes it's a little violent. And you never, especially football, and you never know what you're going to get. Hockey's kind of the same thing. There's a violence to it with all the hitting and the checking, and I love a good heavy team, but there's a speed element that you get in hockey that you don't quite get in football. But whether it's football or hockey, those seem to be the most affected. This whole pussification of sports thing has really gotten out of hand. And I agree with you, it was never more evident than in that New England-San Diego game last night, when I saw one of the best hits of the year. It was clean. It was well-timed. It was well-delivered. It was fantastic. I stood up out of my seat. I was so excited when that hit came down. And then there's the flag. And you're like, wait, what? Hit to the head? Hit to the head? He didn't touch his head. And then as it's coming out later, you're hearing, well, the officials saw the guy down with apparently concussion-like symptoms. So it had to have been a blow to the head. Well, the blow to the head came when he hit the ground. I'm sorry, you can't throw a flag on the ground. Maybe you should. Maybe that's what we need. You need to be able to throw a flag on the ground when the ground causes a concussion. But this was a clean hit.
Since we're going through the pussification of sports, just throw some padding on the ground. We don't need to play on turf or play on grass anymore. Yeah. Let's just put some soft foam. We'll put it down. Let's get even better helmets. Let's just foam around everything.
We'll just replace the turf with that little foamy, spongy turf that they have like in little kindergarten playgrounds. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
We'll just replace all the fields with that. It'll be safer for the kids so they can go out there and they can run amok and they're going to fall down and hit each other every now and then, whatever. Come on. It's football. These guys have all kinds of pads on. Are people going to get hurt? Yes, it's going to happen. That's why you have the gear. But if the play is clean, you cannot keep calling these penalties because it looks like probably something illegal happened because it was really violent. And we're trying to cut back on the violence.
Yeah.
Come on. Same thing in hockey. And I'm not even talking about fighting. Let's just take fighting and put it to the side, whether or not you think that's part of the game. Let's not even muddy the waters and just take that aside. And let's talk about things like boarding or a good open ice check that suddenly is interference. And I'm not talking like, the guy wasn't anywhere near the puck. I'm talking like the guy had the puck and dished it off maybe a second before. There used to be a 2-second rule. I don't know if you remember this, Turtle. It used to be if you can count to 2, it's a clean hit.
Yeah, no, I remember the 2-second rule.
Now if it's like barely a second, if the guy dishes off the puck and gets rocked, if he's a name and he got hit hard, you're probably going to get called for that. Terrible.
I'm trying to contain my frustration because I don't want to fully put the blame on just football. It happens way more in football than any other sport that I've noticed. But when you have a clean hit like you did on the Green Browner hit in the Sunday Night Football game, fantasy football is a big part of why I feel that some of this stuff happens. Not all of it, some of it. And it's because there's big money to be made, and it puts the league in a new economical stance, and it reaches out to other people who are like, no, I'm not really in sports, but I like gambling. I like playing solitaire. I like playing, Texas Hold'em.
Did you just say solitaire?
It's a new. I did. I fucked up. I don't gamble.
Yeah, because that's a big gambling game. Millions of dollars are won and lost every minute in solitaire.
Hey, man, I don't gamble, so yeah.
I've thrown the flag on that one, Turtle. Pussification or no?
That's pussification. That was at least I'll own up.
There you go.
That so I think fantasy football definitely in fantasy sports, primarily in football, make so much money that they are now altering the game. And I think it's bullshit. I think it's stupid that there is not a person to call out the bullshit like those hits this past weekend. I think it's stupid.
I don't know that you can draw a straight line between fantasy sports revenue and rule changes, but it sure seems compelling that as that has become more prominent, we've gotten more worried about player safety. And let's be honest, star player safety, right? It's not like we say we're worried about everyone, but you really see those calls made every time and with a much wider margin for error when it's a star. Otherwise, it takes a super violent hit for them to make a call, I mean, I guess Green is a tight end, and that's one of the stars that they're trying to protect. It's offense. But still, God, this whole thing just has me completely, I'm out. I'm done.
But, and I'm talking about